In today's lecture, we are going to study what are the types of a semiconductor. As we know, semiconductors are the solids in which energy gap lies between conductor and the insulator. The solids in which energy gap is less than insulator and it is greater than conductor, such solids are called as the semiconductors. Examples are silicon and germanium. Then these semiconductors are divided into two main classes. These are intrinsic semiconductor and extrinsic semiconductor. So these are the two types of the semiconductor. One is intrinsic semiconductor, other is extrinsic semiconductor. Intrinsic semiconductor means what? The semiconductor which is extremely pure, means which does not contain any kind of impurity. Such semiconductors are called as the intrinsic semiconductor. And that's why examples are pure silicon and pure germanium. Silicon and germanium are the examples, but they should be in a pure form. So then only they are the examples of an intrinsic semiconductor. Second type is extrinsic semiconductor. Now if some kind of impurity is added to the pure semiconductor, then such semiconductor is called as the extrinsic semiconductor. So semiconductor which contains impurity is called as extrinsic semiconductor. Now, silicon and germanium are the best examples of a semiconductor, and they are tetravalent, means their outermost orbit contains 4 electrons, and that's why they belong to 4th group of a periodic table. Now, impurity added may be trivalent or may be pentavalent. Trivalent means they belong to 3rd group of periodic table, and pentavalent elements they belong to 5th group of a periodic table. So impurity added may be trivalent or pentavalent, and depending on which type of impurity is added, extrinsic semiconductors are again classified into two classes, and these are p-type semiconductor and n-type semiconductor. So if trivalent impurity is added to the pure semiconductor, then the type of semiconductor will be p-type, and if pentavalent impurity is added to the pure semiconductor, then the semiconductor obtained will be n-type semiconductor. So these are the types of a semiconductor. Now we have to study what is meant by intrinsic semiconductors. So let me discuss intrinsic semiconductor. Intrinsic semiconductor is a pure semiconductor which does not contain any kind of impurity. Examples are pure silicon and pure germanium, and they are tetravalent. Tetravalent means their valency is 4. Examples are silicon and germanium. So let me consider a 2-dimensional crystal structure of pure germanium. So germanium atoms are shown here. You can see I have already drawn the encircled germanium circle with GE. It indicates the nucleus and 28 electrons which are present in first 3 shells or orbit. As we know, atomic number for the germanium is 32, and that's why 2 electrons are present in first orbit, 8 electrons are present in second orbit, 18 electrons are present in third orbit, and 4 electrons are present in fourth orbit. So nucleus later on first orbit, second orbit and third orbit. So first to third orbit they contains 2, 8 and 18 means 28 electrons. So nucleus and 28 electrons means 3 orbits are present, or they are denoted with GE. Alright, encircled GE, it indicates nucleus and 28 electrons in first 3 orbits, while 4 valence electrons are denoted by 4 dots. These dots indicate the valence electrons. So 4 dots means 4 electrons which are present in the outermost orbit. So this is a 2-dimensional crystal structure of a germanium. Now, as they are tetravalent, there is no tendency to donate or to accept the electrons to the neighboring atoms, and that's why they compromise and they share electrons from their neighboring atoms and forms a bond. That bond is called as the covalent bond. So bonds which are formed due to sharing of electrons are called as the covalent bonds. So you can see here each germanium atom, this germanium atom, for this one nearest neighbors are these one, first, second, third and fourth. So this central germanium atom will share one electron from each neighboring atom and it forms a covalent bond. So these are the covalent bonds. Like this, all these atoms will share the neighboring atoms electrons, and that's why they form the covalent bond. And now you can see here all the electrons are covalently bonded. As all the electrons are covalently bonded, that's why no free electrons are available for the electrical conduction. And this is the situation at absolute zero temperature. So at absolute zero temperature, all the valence electrons are covalently bonded. No electrons are available for the electrical conduction. No free electrons are available. So its equivalent band diagram can be shown like this. You can see here. Lower band is the valence band, upper band is the conduction band, and electrons are present in the valence band. Valence band means they are covalently bonded, and that's why they cannot participate in the process of electrical conduction. Conduction band is empty, no free electrons are available, and these two bands, upper band is conduction band, lower one is valence band, and they are separated by energy gap for germanium, which is 0.74 electron volt. And that's why electrical conduction is not possible, and hence at absolute zero temperature this semiconductor acts as a insulator. At absolute zero temperature semiconductor acts as a insulator. Now what will happen if the heat energy is supplied here? If we supply heat energy, so as the temperature increases, let me consider the situation at a room temperature. So heat energy will be supplied. Because of this heat energy, this covalent bond will break. If this covalent bond will break, then what will happen? That electron becomes free. So here electron becomes free, and at the same time there exists vacancy inside the covalent bond, and that vacancy of electron, as it is a vacancy of electron which acts as a positive charge, and that's why it is called as the hole. So when one covalent bond will break, at that time one electron becomes free, and at the same time one hole will be generated. So when one covalent bond will be broken, then one electron hole pair will be generated. Now, as the temperature goes on increasing, then more and more covalent bonds will be broken and more electron hole pairs will be generated, and thus now electrons are available in conduction band for the electrical conduction. At the same time, holes are present in a valence band and they are also responsible for the electrical conduction. That's why conduction will take place, and hence at room temperature this intrinsic semiconductor behaves like a conductor. Now its equivalent band diagram is shown here. So covalent bond breaks means what will happen, we can study from the band diagram also. Now when external energy is supplied, that is temperature is increased, so it will gain that thermal energy, and if that thermal energy is sufficient means it is greater than 0.74 electron volt, then electron from valence band reaches to the conduction band. Means when thermal energy is supplied, then covalent bond will break. Covalent bond will break means what? Electron from the valence band reaches to the conduction band, means it becomes a free electron. At the same time, there exists vacancy in a covalent bond. So here, as electron reaches from valence band to conduction band, that's why there exists vacancy in a valence band, and that vacancy is called as a hole. So hole is present in a valence band. So this is situation, one covalent bond will be broken. Now if temperature is increased, then more and more covalent bonds will be broken, and that's why electrons will jump to the conduction band and vacancies are generated in a valence band. So these vacancies are called as the holes. So holes are present in valence band, while electrons which becomes free, they are present in a conduction band. And now electrical conduction is possible due to holes in a valence band as well as free electrons in a conduction band, and hence it behaves like a conductor. One important point regarding the intrinsic semiconductor is that number of free electrons in conduction band are always equal to the number of holes in a valence band. Number of free electrons in conduction band are always equal to number of holes in a valence band, and conduction is possible due to both the type of charge carrier, and that's why commonly these charge carriers are called as the intrinsic charge carriers. Now we have to study electrical conduction in intrinsic semiconductor. How electrical conduction will take place in semiconductor, that we have to study. And for that, let me consider three germanium atoms A, B and C, which are as shown in figure. Here germanium atom A, germanium atom B and germanium atom C. Before that, as we know, the electrons are present in a conduction band, free electrons, while holes are present in a valence band, and both these charge carriers are responsible for the electrical conduction in intrinsic semiconductor, and number of free electrons in conduction band are always equal to the number of holes in a valence band. So these are the three germanium atoms A, B and C. Here 4 dots indicates the valence electrons, and initially let me consider that hole is present at atom A. Now if the electric field is applied here, if the electric field is applied to this crystal, and this is a negative plate and this will be the positive plate of the applied electric field. Now because of this external electric field, valence electrons will get additional energy, and because of this additional energy, now valence electron from other atoms, maybe from B or C, will try to move to fill up this vacancy at A, because this plate is positive, and that's why electron will try to move towards the positive plates. So possibility is that electron from atom B, valence electron from atom B, will be shifted to the vacancy at atom A, and this vacancy will be filled up. At the same time, this vacancy is shifted to atom B. Alright. But here one thing should be noted, that when electric field is applied, then valence electron will gain energy, and because of that energy, this valence electron will shift from atom B to A. But this energy is very small, because this process will happen inside the valence band only, because hole is present in a valence band and valence electrons are also present in a valence band. So there is a movement of valence electrons from one atom to the another atom which contains vacancy, and that's why additional energy is not required. Additional energy means energy is required, but that amount is very small. It is much less than the energy gap, because we know that energy gap is the gap of energy between valence band and conduction band. If that much amount of energy is supplied, then that electron will make transition from valence band to conduction band, and that's why to move inside the valence band, it requires a very small amount of energy. And because of this energy, valence electron from B will be shifted to vacancy at A. And now the situation becomes like this. So this is the germanium atom C, which contains all 4 valence electrons. Now atom B, germanium atom B, now vacancy is shifted to the germanium atom B, while atom A now contains 4 valence electrons. So this is a situation after transfer of valence electron from B to A. So when electron is transferred from B to A, at the same time hole is shifted from A to B. Now again energy will be gained by the electron from atom C, and because of this energy, again electron from atom C will be shifted to atom B to fill up this vacancy, and as soon as this vacancy will be filled up, then situation will be like this. So this is the germanium atom C, and now vacancy at germanium atom B is shifted to C, and this is a germanium atom B which contains 4 valence electrons, and this is the germanium atom A, again contains 4 valence electrons. So in this way you can see, when the electric field is applied, then these valence electrons are moving from atom C to B and B to A. So motion of electrons is from C to B and B to A, and at the same time there is a motion of holes which is in opposite direction. Hole is moving from A to B and B to C. So movement of hole is from A to B and B to C, and because of this movement electric conduction will take place, and therefore electric conduction will be due to electrons. So conduction due to electron will produce an electron current, and there will be a current due to motion of holes, and that will be the hole current, and sum of these two electron current plus hole current will give the total current in a semiconductor. So in this way, in case of semiconductor, electrical conduction is due to both, that is electron as well as holes. If electrons are moving in one direction, at the same time holes are moving in opposite direction, and both will contribute for the electrical conduction.